Hello and welcome to today's video. So a bit of a shorter one today, and this video is an afternoon with Dorset Bob, and we went out book hunting. This was the day before the London Paperback Show and the weather was awful. I'd already been to the Matford Toy Fair that morning, so I'd already had a really early start. And as is traditional, once I get to Bob's, he says, let's go and just check a couple of bookshops out, nip to the pub for a pint, and then we'll get back and get the car loaded up ready for the book fair. So I thought, well, yeah, why not, you know? He's never led me astray before. By the time I got there and the time we headed out, it was a little bit later in the day, but we were able to go to the National Trust venue, which is what you see here, and Bob is a member, as am I, and we were able to go into the bookshop, which is always good fun, and you never know what you might come across at a National Trust bookshop. I've always said that, and historically I have actually found some good stuff there. Certainly in my local one at Saltram House in Plymouth, I've had some lucky finds there. Sadly, this time round, although it's one of the best stocked or well stocked and best organised of National Trust bookshops I think I've ever been in, this time round I didn't actually find anything. While we were there, one of the lady volunteers said to Bob, what are you looking for? And he said, well, I like to specialise in science fiction. And they said, we've got a box of that out the back if you'd like to have a look. It's that dream scenario that you want to hear. So I kept my cool. I was just there, I'm filming away, you know, just having a look around, thinking, Bob will be in his element. He came back, and sadly, after about 5-10 minutes of having a look through those books, there wasn't sadly anything there for him. So as much as I tried, and I did try, there was a few nice Folio Society volumes here, but the prices were, about what you would pay, or even slightly dearer than what you could find those particular volumes online. Reasonable science fiction and horror section. Anyway, after the National Trust, we went to the Sixpenny Tap brewery. Our friend Scott, the TARDIS and various props around the pub. There's a gun there from Red Dwarf, if you can see it, just in the courtyard there. Scott used to be a BBC special effects technician, and I worked on Doctor Who and Noel's House Party and things like this. The pub is fantastic. He brews really, really nice real ale, and Bob and I popped in. I completed their Rubik Cube, and we had a quick pint each before we headed off to our next venue, which was the Westmore's Bookshop. Now, I have been here once before with Bob, and last time we came I picked up about 8 books, and they've got a very interesting sort of trade-in system. So I think you can sort of trade stuff in for store credit, and then you only pay like half the cover price, and their prices are not expensive. The science fiction, fantasy, horror sections were very, very well shopped, as you can see. But they had stuff there, and once again, it was reasonably well organised by author surname. The overall shop, mind you, was very, very disorganised, unfortunately, and there was piles of stuff everywhere, simply because I think they've got slightly too much stock than they've got room for, so certain sections were sort of overflowing a little bit. But clearly the science fiction and fantasy was doing well. As you can see there is stuff in the corridors and that, but it's been around quite a long time. Bob usually ends up getting something, and he pulled a little pile of books this time round as well. But sadly, once again, I didn't actually find anything that I wanted to buy, although there was plenty to see. And I always love going around bookshops like this, because you just never know. You never know what you might might come across or see. And yeah, this time around though, nothing really too vintage on offer. It was more 80s, 90s upwards. And sadly, I came away empty-handed. But boy, oh boy, so much stuff there. I mean, just miles of it. Absolutely incredible. You had to really sort of watch your step as you were walking along, and I'm trying to film as well. And I had a pint of beer inside me, so the whole thing was fraught with disaster, but we managed to come out unscathed. Yeah, it appears to be a back room there, equally stacked out as well. Yeah, the slightly shaky camera work is literally because I'm having to watch where I put each foot. as I worked my way through the shop. But this time it was absolutely pitch black outside. The weather had not improved. So Bob said, well, look, we might as well head on back and get the van loaded up, ready for London. And I was all for that. And I always enjoy looking around Bob's book warehouse, as it were. But yeah, this was absolutely fine. I mean, there was great stuff there. I said it's not cheap, and if you're ever in the area, definitely go along and pop in, because you may well find something. I imagine it's a sort of place where stock turns over fairly quickly, and if there is something particularly reasonably recent that you've possibly missed or not seen, that's likely the place to get it. And if you're just a general reader, wow, you can really fill your boots. But as I said, I didn't buy anything. Bob came out with a pile of stuff, and for himself or resale. But yeah, much more modern stock rather than the more vintage that we're familiar with. Lots and lots of Dean Koontz there. And now we've made it back to Bob's in one piece, and there's a little pile of corgi. Now, Bob already had a lot of stock already boxed up, ready to go to the show, so I could only film basically what hadn't been packed up. I was able to grab just a little bit of footage of one of the boxes, which is this one, but the main reason for going in and filming was so that I was able to have a look through Bob's stock of those fantastic weird tales, and here they are. So Bob had a fantastic run that he was taking to the London Paperback Show. Some of these have now sold, but they're ranging in price from £75, £150, even as much as £300 for an issue. A lot of them have classic, like that one in my hand now, classic covers by Margaret Brundage. Fantastic artist, and she did a lot of covers for Weird Tales in the 1930s. But these are 20s, 30s, and 40s issues, all American, very, very desirable, with the covers, the people who had stories inside them, and highly collectible. And even at those prices, and these are not bad copies, as you can see, Bob did sell some at the London show. I don't know how many, so he's definitely got some left still. So if you see some that you might want, drop him an email at mrbook451@outlook.com if you see one that you like or would like a bit more information about. But he did sell some. Some of these have now gone, so I'm really pleased that I took the opportunity to film this box, because it's not every day you see such beautiful pulps like this in the flesh. Very, very nice indeed. And 100 years of Weird Tales this very year, so 1924 was when it started. Just a phenomenal mag. Look at the authors in there. Lovecraft in that one, Jack Williamson. I mean, all the big names wrote for Weird Tales at some point in their careers. And a very, very tough series to collect, the whole lot. I mean, extremely difficult and extremely pricey unless you got very lucky. So seeing all these was a real treat. So yeah, so no pickups for me at the end of this video. Sadly, I have got many pickups to show you at the end of the London Paperback Show video, which will already be out by the time you get to see this one. This was just a little sort of a bit of a filler video, an afternoon with Dorset Bob. Always an exciting proposition. You never quite know where you're going to end up and or what you're going to see. And well, these were a real treat. I knew he had some for sale, but seeing them in the flesh was really something. I think if I was a millionaire, I would definitely be collecting these, just because they're so lovely. And I'm not really a collector of pulps. I've got some, obviously, but I don't really collect them. I don't enjoy the feel of the paper when I'm actually reading them. But, you know, for what they are, the age of what they are, their historical importance, and when they've got great cover as well, they're difficult to say no to. Yes, what a box that was. And, well, we'll round out the video having a little look around a bit more of Bob's warehouse. Now, this is the stuff he couldn't fit in the van to take to the London Paperback Show, so all of this is theoretically still available. Just drop Bob an email at mrbook451 if you spot anything that you might fancy yourself. I do not dwell massively on every single shelf, but it is predominantly SF fantasy with a little bit of horror. Lots and lots of pulps as well. And a great thing you can do if you've got a wants list is just drop that into Bob via email, and he can have a check and get back to you if he's got anything that you might be looking for. But yeah, to get all of this at the paperback show, Bob would have needed about 30 tables, I think, so not really practical. Yes, so the odd empty shelf where stock has been pulled, but that's to be expected. You know, the day before the big London show. Now, there is talk of another paperback show at Morris's warehouse at All You Need Is Books in February. It'll be a Sunday in February, probably one of the last 3. We haven't quite zeroed in on a date yet, but as soon as I've got one, I will let you know, and that'll be the first sort of big paperback show of 2025, with the next London show following at the end of March. So somewhere a little bit different, somewhere to try out, get to see Morris's warehouse, and yeah, it might be one that you want to consider going to. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this little tour of the Dorset area and Dorset Bob stock, such as it was before the London show. If you have, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback coverage. And I shall very much look forward to seeing you again soon with some more vintage paperback action. Bye.